Down at the range today with the ultimate 22 long rifle defensive test. I've done this a few times before, and the winners were always the Velociter and the Stinger, with the Stinger edging out the Velociter just ever so slightly, but making both good carry options. Now, everybody said try the new Federal Punch. It was designed for personal defense, 29 grains, and it flies very fast out of a small defensive weapon, so we're going to be trying that today. I've got 25-pound clay blocks, 2 of them, and different things to shoot to kind of show the damage that all of these cause. And the top 2 out of the first 3 clay tests will shoot at water jugs to see the impact difference. But enough talking, let's get to shooting. We are at 7 yards where all of the tests will be conducted, shooting at 25 pounds of clay for the initial test. This is starting off with a Velociter. It's 40 grain hollow point, and the box says 1425 feet per second, but I believe that's going to be out of a 16-inch barrel. We're using more of a defensive barrel length right here out of this Heritage single action revolver. So there's the entrance hole, and it punched all the way through, and you can see how it opened up in the inside. So I'm going to show you guys right here how that completely opened up and bulged out the top. So a very effective 22. I highly encourage you to go watch some of my other 22 videos. None were near this effective as those CCI. So it's going to be interesting to see how that Federal does. But now for the Cci Stingers. This is going to be the Cci Stinger. This is 32 grain hollow point, traveling at 1640 out of a 16-inch barrel. Let's take the shot. So this one actually didn't make it out all the way, which makes sense. It's a lighter projectile hollow point traveling a lot faster. It dumped a ton of its energy into this huge gaping hole about the same size, but you could see part of the projectile right there. It looks like the jacket started separating and it didn't punch all the way through. It's like right there. There's no way we could have predicted that. So this is pretty interesting. It looks like that initial jacket came off and left the core right there. Now, the clay blocks were trying to get almost the exact same size, but there's definitely a difference because the other one actually punched through the clay right in here, and then I believe punched out the other side or came in there. So you could see that first one had deeper penetration, but again, that Stinger dumped its energy on initial impact. So both of those are pretty interesting results. But now the Federal Punch. I haven't shot this yet. This should be good. Now for the Federal Punch. So this is 29 grains, the smallest or lightest weight bullet, and it's a flat nose. This is 1070 feet per second out of a 2-inch barrel. So that's a dramatic difference. So it's really hard to guesstimate the differences between a 16 and a 2-inch, but let's just see what happens to the clay. Should be interesting. So this definitely has the biggest opening, and it's just deep and conical. It punched straight through, and then it came through here, and then it came through the other side. So that punch is no joke. It seems like it dumps its energy just like the Stinger, but actually has the follow through because it's not a hollow point like the Velociter. I think just this became my new carry round. And when you consider the fact that it's actually not a hollow point, it should feed a little bit better. We'll have to do some reliability testing, but man, that punch is awesome. Now we're going to set up some water jugs, and I'm going to test the difference between the Cci Stinger versus that punch to see the difference on 2 water jugs, and that'll be the final test. If you want to see any more tests, subscribe to the channel. We keep doing this all the time, especially when new rounds come out or we have new ideas. So I've got the Stinger round loaded up and the Federal Punch round. Those are the ones that dump energy, so it should be interesting to see on a jug of water. So they're just 2 soda jugs, 2 liters full of water. We'll see that impact, and we'll see kind of that expansion on impact. This should be good. First up, the Stinger. So glad I did that test. The clay does not tell the whole story. Again, this was the Stinger. It had so much pressure, it popped the actual top of the cap off and ripped this to shreds. You may hear something drizzling in the background. The punch punched clean through. So this is going to give you much more penetration. So if you were using this for defense, that is something you're going to have to consider. How far is it going to penetrate through thick jack? It seemed like the punch is going to penetrate, and when it hits something like clay, it's going to expand dramatically, although that Cci Stinger is no joke. I hope this gives you some more data points, but what this has done in my mind has really elevated Federal Punch to one of the top 2. Now, I'm going to either carry Velocitor, Stinger, or Federal Punch now in the handguns I use for personal defense for 22s. Now, I don't do that often. Honestly, the only time I do it is I'll grab that LCP Generation 2, the light rack that holds 10 rounds, and I may use that for like a backpacking camp gun. But in that gun, it will now be either Stinger or Federal Punch. I hope you guys liked the video. I hope it gives you some more information about defensive 22 options. And subscribe to the channel because I've got a ton of videos explaining what guns I actually like for personal defense when it comes to a 22 long rifle. And I'll link that in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.